The bell above the pawn shop door gave a weak little chime as an old man stepped inside. Maya barely looked up from the counter. Tuesday afternoons at Henderson's Pawn were always slow, filled with dust, silence, and the smell of old regrets. Then she noticed him. He was painfully thin, swallowed by a worn tweed coat that must have fit perfectly decades ago. His hands trembled as he placed a small velvet box on the counter. "I have these," he whispered. Maya opened the box carefully. Inside were 3 military medals, a Bronze Star, Purple Heart, and a Distinguished Service Cross. The ribbons were faded, but the medals were spotless, polished with care. These weren't collector's items to him. They were pieces of his life. Maya picked up the Purple Heart and read the engraved name. Arthur Pendleton. The old man stood silently while she inspected them. His pale blue eyes held no pride, no anger, only exhaustion. "What were you hoping to get for them?" Maya asked quietly. Arthur looked away toward the rain-streaked window. "Enough for groceries." The words hit her harder than she expected. Not rent, not medicine. Groceries. A man who had survived Normandy was standing in a pawn shop selling his medals so he could eat. Maya glanced at the security camera in the corner. Her boss would have treated this like any other transaction. Check the value. Offer cash. Move on. But this felt wrong. "Are you sure you want to sell these?" she asked softly. Arthur gave a tired smile. "I'm 92 years old, young lady. My history is nearly over. But my refrigerator is empty today." Something inside Maya snapped. "Can you give me a few minutes?" she asked. "I need to verify the value." It was a lie. She carried the medals into the back office, pulled out her phone, and took a picture. Then she opened the local community Facebook page and typed the truth. "A 92-year-old veteran named Arthur Pendleton is at Henderson's pawn shop selling his medals for grocery money. I'm trying to stall him. Somebody please help." Her finger hovered over the screen. Then she pressed post. At first nothing happened. Then the notifications started. 1 share, 10 shares, 50. Comments flooded in. "This is heartbreaking. Someone help this man. Where is this shop?" Within minutes, the post exploded across town. Maya's hands shook as she peeked out of the office. Arthur sat quietly in a plastic chair beside a stack of old televisions, staring at the floor. Then she heard it. A distant rumble. Low at first, then louder. The pawn shop windows began vibrating. Maya hurried to the front door and froze. Motorcycles. Dozens of them. Big Harleys rolled down the street like thunder, black leather and chrome stretching farther than she could count. Engines roared as bike after bike lined up outside the pawn shop. The entire street trembled. Arthur looked up in confusion. The shop door opened. A massive biker stepped inside, gray beard braided down his chest, leather vest covered in patches. 2 more men followed behind him, standing silently near the entrance. The giant biker walked to the counter. "We're here for the medals," he said. Maya's throat went dry. She nodded carefully. The biker pulled out his phone and showed her the Facebook post. "You wrote this?" "Yes." He studied her face for a moment, then nodded once before turning toward Arthur. "Arthur Pendleton?" he asked respectfully. Arthur slowly stood. "I am." The biker extended his hand. "Sarge, United States Marine Corps, Gulf War." Arthur shook it with trembling fingers. "Army," he replied quietly. "2nd Infantry Division, Normandy." Silence filled the shop. 2 soldiers from different generations stood facing each other, connected instantly by something deeper than words. Sarge looked back at Maya. "How much does he need?" Arthur answered before she could. "About $100. Sarge pulled out a thick roll of cash and dropped several $100 bills onto the counter. "That's for this week," he said. Then he turned toward the door. "Pass the helmet." One biker walked outside carrying his helmet down the long line of motorcycles. Every biker reached into their pockets. 5s, 10s, 20s, 100s. When the helmet came back, it overflowed with cash. Sarge placed it gently on the counter. "And this," he said, "is for the years after that." Arthur stared at the money speechless. Then Sarge carefully picked up the velvet metal box. "We'd like to buy these from you," he said. Arthur looked confused. "Son, you already gave me too much." Sarge shook his head. "We're buying them for one Sunday roast." Then he handed the box back to Arthur. "Because these belong with you." The old veteran's composure shattered. Tears rolled silently down his face as he clutched the medals against his chest. "I'm not a hero," he whispered. Sarge rested a hand on his shoulder. "That's usually what heroes say." But the story didn't end there. The bikers followed Arthur home. All 175 of them. The roaring procès.